All right, I just sat down to do my grading for the week and was disappointed to see most people did not turn in their Module 3 problem set. Now, of course, your two lowest grades get dropped, so you are free to blow your insurance policy on this. But if you intend to work in an office at any point in your career, you really need to get comfortable with the basics of Excel. So, with that said, let's take a very quick look at this. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in this modules playlist, but let's just do the absolute basics. And I will show you the check plus question for those who did the work. Everyone who turned in their work, I gave them 10 bonus points. A few people got the full check plus. Most of the people who only got a check, which this week was 90 out of 100, had a simple mistake over here, which is relatively easy to fix. Let's go ahead and zoom in here just so you can actually see what's going on. So what we want is for this orange cell to do the same work as this truth table, but we need it to be automated. This is the purpose of using Excel instead of just doing math by hand with paper and pencil. We want the computer to do the hard work for us. We want it to do the fiddly work. We want to set it up so that it does things automatically. But we want, when something changes, we want to get the right answer. So for example, if this becomes true, we want this to update. And in this case, true lines up with what we want here. So that's good. The only place it's going to be false is when we have a true false. Let's put a 0 in there, which does the same thing as a false. Our orange square is not updating appropriately. So we need to modify this so that it will turn false when we have this condition and will otherwise be true. There are many ways that we could do this. The temptation is to go for, let's look for if. And there is a way to do this with if, but if in Excel does not do the same sort of if as if-then in symbolic logic. Right? So this conditional statement, this if P then Q, represents a logical relationship. This if is an if this condition holds, then do this other thing. So one thing we could do is we could say if we have P is true and not Q is true, then we want to do false. We want to have the value of cell A24 be false. Otherwise, we want it to be true. So this gets us the answer, right? So if we say 0, 0, we get 1, right? Which corresponds with true. If we say 0, 1, we still get 1, corresponds with true. If we say 1, 1, we still get true, that corresponds with true. And if we say 1, 0, we get a 0. So here we used an if statement to get that. We can actually make this even simpler and just say, do we have this? Not quite this. If we do an or, one more time, if we do an or where if Q is true, then we have an outcome as true, or if P is false, then we have an outcome of true. So whenever P is false, the outcome is going to be true. The only time when P is true that we have a false outcome is if Q is false. So if P is false or Q is true, we want a true, otherwise we want a false. So if we say or, if we have if we have Q, then we want a true outcome, or if we do not have P, then we want a true outcome. So here again, 1, 1 gets us true, 0, 1 gets us true, 0, 0 gets us true, 1, 0 gets us false. That is one way to do this. There are many possible ways to do this. So the logic aspect of it we're just putting stuff together to get us something equivalent. The Excel part of this is that we want to have a formula in here doing the hard work for us. So if you turned it in and you got a check, I still recommend going through and trying to fix this. I only graded this question. This was the check plus question. So if you turned it in, you got a check. If you got this question right, you got a check plus. Regardless, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to go back to this assignment and try and figure it out. You've missed the points, but you are not going to go into a future where you don't need to use Excel. So because Excel is such an important part of the professional environment of the 21st century, you got to know how to use it, right? If you want to work in an office, you got to be able to do a little bit of Excel. So take a look at this question again, take a look at this problem set, see if you can't figure out the rest, make a biconditional. This set is a little bit more straightforward. And then the last question, this one isn't really an Excel one, this is just straight logic. But definitely questions 0, 1, and 2, I highly encourage you to go back and try and get those questions right. If you got questions, ask in the Discord server, and I'll point you in the right directions. In any case, if you have more questions, ask in the usual places, and I will talk to you in the future.